Hello, hello, hello. This is it. Today we begin the final chapter of Triangle Strategy. I have no clue if we're actually going to finish it today. It's entirely possible. But regardless, today we begin changing the course of history for all Norzelia. As if it hasn't already changed enough already. We've taken down not one, but two armies of Hyzante. Busted through their wall with the death knell. And now we enter the city itself. And we're gonna see just where that gets us, I guess. So without further ado, let's go ahead and begin. Here it goes. This is it. That's all that's left on the map. And just to make sure, under the encampment, let's double check all of our units. No promotions. Nothing significant there. No upgrades for us. This is it. Here we go. Let's head into Central Hyzante.
Minister Tenebris.
Who is that woman with him?
Serenoa Wolfort. The blame rests at your feet. Your meddling forced me into this position.
Let us pass peacefully and you will come to no harm.
You speak as if I have a choice. Unless every last rebel is killed, Minister Idor will kill me.
Killing all of us is beyond even your capabilities.
He did not charge me with your executions. The Holy One will see to that. All I had to do was escort her here.
That woman is the Holy One?
I cannot say. None have actually seen the Holy One in the flesh.
Then you understand what an honor this is. To witness not only her true form, but her true power. Suffer the wrath of the goddess! What are you doing?
Run!
power is this?
This destruction, this light, it's just like the Elfric. Lord Serenoa, I am not sure how it is possible, but I believe she has absorbed the power of the blast crystals.
Is such a thing even possible?
No, not for a human.
Are you saying the Holy One is not human? We must retreat.
No, Lord Serenoa.
Huh?
I do not deny we face an enemy unlike any we have faced before. But to withdraw now will allow Hyzante to recover its strength. I thought you believed in what the Salt promises. I thought you were resolved to do whatever it takes to forge a better Norzelia. The future is as strange and frightening as any foe. How can you be brave enough to change one when you flee in terror from the other? Be not afraid to fight for your chosen path, Lord Serenoa. We will fight beside you every step of the way.
You speak true, Benedict. Take up your arms, my friends. We will strike down this so-called Holy One and Hyzante with her!
Oh boy. Also, it's a bit funny that Benedict says, "Be not afraid," when we're fighting what is essentially some sort of divine deity? Maybe? Kinda, sorta? The automaton makes it sound like it's a robot, but I'm not sure. Oh boy, though. No, that's the... This is what I meant, and then I need to press X here. Okay, I got everyone in. Automation. Or, excuse me, automaton. So you have claws. They're all... I thought they were originally, like, essentially Roselle zombies, but they're not. When defeated in battle, explode, dealing physical damage to adjacent enemies. Ooh. Deal physical damage to one enemy, power 166. Fiery talons and icy talons. Interesting. And are they all the same? They are all the same. Of course, they have 3 freaking battle mages. Wind, Spark, and then you have Thunderbird. Lower lightning resistance for 3 turns upon hit. Oh. That is, if it doesn't already instantaneously friggin' kill them. Is this the end of the game? It could very well be. This is the final chapter. Whether or not this is the final battle, I'm not quite sure yet. Hey, Hyzante, how you doing? How are all you guys doing? Actually, that's probably the better question. This is gonna be tough. Spears are eh. 2 random swordsmen, eh. These guys who load a little bit interesting. Oh, wait, hold on. I just saw her icon. Or, oh yeah, she's 100% a robot. Okay. What are those stats? Oh my gosh. Doing good? How's it going? It's going pretty good. Doing good? It's good to hear. It's good to hear that you guys are doing good. Good to hear it. Fell asleep last time because it was getting late? Ah, don't worry. Don't worry. This is terrifying. Increases damage dealt. Greater TP, greater the boost. Grants immunity to all status ailments. Flatter, I just gain 1 TP. Deal non-elemental magic damage to a single enemy. At range. For no cost. At 251 power. So I'm going to puppet on the selected square. A puppet? Or one of these guys, the automaton? I thought the Hierophant was not even real and the old guy was talking to no one. I mean, based on the fact that this is kind of like a robot, I think he might be. Let's attempt all enemies within range for 2 turns. Define within range. Deal non-elemental magic damage to all enemies with 3 or more TP, unlimited range. Oh. I see. Oh my gosh, all of these guys are going to hit incredibly hard. Oh boy, this may take a few attempts. I'm not going to lie. Oh boy. One thing in particular is I need to be sure to stay out of the range of all of these mages. They have the capability of one-shotting anybody on my team. I'll zoom out a lot because I'm going to need it. Physical damage and physical. Okay, so at the very least I can deal with these 6 as physical enemies. I had to take a guess. The Hierophant's not going to move unless I step within her range. Its range? Its range. It's a robot. I don't know what to call it. Okay, so these guys, I can deal with physical units. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna suck. But I can deal with them. Guys on the side will probably come down by the time I'm finishing up with maybe the first half of these. Just simply need to be careful not to take basically a step forward from Serenoa. Because then I'm screwed. Also, they are incredibly fast. We have a whole 3 people who are moving before the 10th turn. Oh boy. And all we need to do is just defeat the Hierophant. So So I guess we're gonna have to see. You'll look more this time since you don't want to be spoiled by the end of the game. That's fine. That's fine. That is 100% understandable.
My friends, the final battle is upon us. We face a foe like none we've ever faced, but fear has no place in our hearts. We are the
Well,
light
thank you.
that guides Norzelia out of the darkness and into a new dawn.
Come at me!
Here goes nothing.
My turn.
Take cover.
You won't catch me.
Also probably the last battle. Yeah, Cyrano is 100%. Yeah, he may be. He may actually be right. This may just go on for like 4 hours because the final boss is just gonna revive himself somehow. I have no idea what they're doing.
Back at you.
So all that secret research the Ministry conducted was to create this abomination. A monster in human skin. To what end did Hyzante create such a thing?
Time to take flight.
Okay, so you know, that is not going to be helpful. I want that marker to only say when I'm actually within range. Not with whenever I'm within a skill that has unlimited range. That's gonna annoy me a little bit. But we'll deal with it. Oh boy.
Curses.
That's gonna be a problem. And 7. Ah, boy. Okay, the mages are moving way too early for my liking. Let's do this.
Wait your turn. For my kith and kin.
Make way. I don't play around.
That's fine.
Nice try! You've done it now!
That's perfect, actually.
Show you what I can do.
I'm gonna take one step up and we'll do that. And we're gonna see how this goes.
The fruits of my studies.
Okay, if it's only that much damage, I think I can deal with that.
Where's your next?
I definitely need to just place the decoys super high up. We can get the mages to waste their TP, then we'll be good, at least for a little while longer.
Let me heal your wounds. Be at ease.
The tides are turning.
One step closer to our hope.
Allow me.
How far out can we place? We could theoretically get there, but I don't think that's going to be entirely helpful. Go with blazing chains then.
Flames, heed my call for a better world. Very well.
I'm not gonna use the Rite of Rain. It's too risky with all the enemies having lightning effects.
The heavens raise.
Yep.
You won't beat me.
That's kind of what I was scared of. Hold on, what is your range? Gee, thanks. That's real helpful. So it's actually 1 to 4. So if you go here, wait, hold on. Okay, so you can go to the edge of that step, and you can go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if I move here, and I use... And I use the King's Shield.
You'll have to get through me.
Let's see how this goes.
Your Highness.
Oh. Okay.
My turn.
And you're already advancing. It's time for a bit of a different strategy then.
Shadows conceal me.
You've done it now. Curses.
Can't go there. I can't go here though.
Now that hit the mark. Nice, you've done it now.
Point me at him.
Okay. I want to get on the roof.
All right, enough.
Me too.
I'll do my best.
Okay.
Hurts, don't it?
Let me show you what I've learned.
Okay, now time for battle cry. That does not do anywhere near as much as I was hoping. I think it's still worth it though.
I'll show you what I can do.
Her turn's going to come around much later, so instead we're going to use in tandem. Where are you? Right there. Make sure you can go right now. Move one more forward. Resistant. Let's see, 174, 158, 58. Okay, 174 it is. Excuse me.
I did it. The flames consume you.
Let me heal your wound.
Okay, a decent AoE attack should be able to do it. Get a full heal to Serenoa.
Here,
Tides are turning.
Behold true power.
Right of Wind is not going to be able to hit that many of them. At least get rid of... Oh my gosh, I'm a genius. I didn't even think of that. I'm a freaking genius. So we had the ice there from Icy Breath, and then we melted it with, what was it? I already forgot the name of your ultimate skill. Sunfall. I almost called it like Solar Flare. This is not quite right.
Stay down. The heavens bless me.
There goes one. There goes two. Still invincible. Counterattack. And 2 out of the 3 mages are gone. How about you don't?
Come at me!
Yeah, we'll do this.
my turn.
Okay, invincibility is gone, which sucks, but we'll deal with it. Get rid of one mage, hopefully.
Impossible! You've done it now! Impressed?
I didn't think about that. We can deal with that, though.
Curses!
It's a start. But we need to get rid of... You're coming up on 12, you're coming up on 6. Okay. Why not both? Okay, both would not work. Okay, so an automaton.
Another one? Just how many does she have at her disposal?
I'm assuming unlimited. Yeah, I don't like that.
Make way.
Okay, let's have you attack. Yeah, it may actually be better to start just getting rid of some of these guys. Since we took out a decent chunk up top, we can start working on the ones towards the bottom and then slowly move everyone forward.
You're wide open!
I'm better than ever.
Okay, this is gonna suck.
Ready or not, here I come.
Am I able to... Yes. It's fine.
I can still stand.
You aren't going to be doing much. Take a moment and heal, please.
For myself.
Shall we begin?
Okay, here's what we can do. We can go, and before we move, we can heal up Eridor.
Be at ease.
That's the stuff.
And then we can scooch over.
The heavens judge you.
Now that we're... That won't do much of anything. No chance of paralysis or anything. What's the point of it then? I think we can use Rite of Rain now.
Hear my prayers.
Nothing terribly good in terms of the position of the puddles from what I can see.
Come at me!
I wish they were all just bundled up a little bit closer. That would make it so much easier. Let's see. So we got... You're moving in 4. How far can you move? You can attack her. Okay. You have to use Spinning Slash, though. And I think you can take a Spinning Slash. You can definitely attack her. Okay, go here and use Provoke.
I'll be your shield.
How goes the battle so far? I'd say it's about even, not counting the Hierophant. Counting the Hierophant, I think we're a little bit on the losing side.
I can still move.
Oh boy. Okay, go ahead and poison him.
You won't escape.
Get some chip damage. And then with your extra action, heal yourself.
I'll take this.
And then face that way. I don't like her charging TP because it means that she can then go and use a big attack earlier. But at the very least, it does count to an extent as a free turn for me. Can I heal up like this?
Too obvious.
That's fine, I can deal with that. Ooh, I thought they were gonna go for Izana.
Me too!
Make way.
Okay, one of you... Yeah. Didn't steal anything, but I know that he's done on the next turn.
Back at you. That hit the mark.
Help me.
Ball toss isn't gonna get it much better.
Have another!
Oh, I didn't think about that.
I fight for peace.
I'm gonna go back here. We're gonna use Scorch. Right, because that's not... Yeah, that's only gonna be 122. Yeah. Scorch.
Please, heed my call.
Shall we begin? Your wounds are healed.
Heal you up so that you can take it,
My time is now.
and you don't have an AoE. That's fine, I have methods. I have my methods, okay. I don't like it, but I'm gonna have to have you retreat. Go ahead and use Rite of Luck. Let's get everybody's luck up
Fortune be with us.
for... I don't know what it's exactly going to do, but if it helps, then it helps.
Your orders?
Oh, you did nothing. Okay. Okay, so I do for sure need to poison you.
You won't escape.
And then we'll go and hit you.
So this is the manner of creature that blocks Lord Serenoa and Benedict's path. Whatever enemies I must face, I will fulfill my duty. You will not stop me for long!
This is the end.
There we go.
I'll show you what I'm made of.
I know you will fall next turn. The healer goes after you now. Let's work on the cavalry, man. You know if this is a good ending or a perfect route? I have no clue. If I'm gonna be honest, this isn't even the ending I was shooting for. I failed to convince some people, so we're actually going with Benedict's route instead of Frederica's.
Point me at him.
Ah, here's what I can do. Actually, if I step up here... Benedict? No! Yeah, yeah. Hands off though, so it happens. Hands off? I don't quite understand what that means, I apologize. But yeah, due to simply the way that it all turned out, I was debating between Benedict and Frederica's route, and I eventually decided on Frederica's. I figured that one would be the better one, at least for what I wanted. But I said as long as it wasn't Roland's route. I said I failed to convince them. So here's what the decision was. I won't say too much in terms of spoilers, but Frederica, Benedict, and Roland each had their own route. I had to convince everyone else who was sitting in the undecided pool to go for one of them. I successfully convinced one person, and then everyone else, I'm assuming, was just random for one of the other two, and we ended up getting Benedict. I said that I was okay as long as I didn't get Roland, and I guess the game took that very literally.
I don't play around.
Too slow.
Oh, I figured he had enough health. Dang it.
Too obvious.
I was thinking I would be able to then take the hit and then heal myself with the red scarf. Roland's was worse than Benedict. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Trish will get you next.
A wasted effort.
Oh.
I can still stand.
That's gonna do nothing. Okay. Healer's not gonna do anything. Okay, here's how this is gonna go. We're gonna have to do this.
For you! Thanks!
Let me heal your wounds.
And now we go and we use the large HP recovery right here.
I have more if you require.
Stop.
My turn.
And again, we poison you.
Suffer.
Ow.
For life.
We can't even do anything with spoils of supposedly the last battle. I want to hit, but I don't want to get hit. Okay, let's go for it. Ow.
The heavens judge you!
Quite, but if I take a step or two closer... Still not gonna do too much. Okay. Okay, how am I gonna do this? Let's try it. We'll use them.
You'll regret facing me!
I'll take you on.
Okay, now I can go here and we'll provoke everybody.
I'll be your shield.
Got no one.
Me learn.
Wonderful.
Ready for battle!
Hopefully this works.
Bullseye!
Ooh, large HP recovery pellet. Nice. Man.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
People.
Spears, I know. It also really sucks that none of those Furies actually worked. And you weren't dead.
No!
Shall we begin?
Get rid of. Just.
Be at ease.
That's the stuff.
Behold true power.
Be gone.
Tremble in fear. The heavens bless me.
Sure, let's grab this, I guess.
Come at me. It hurts, don't it?
Point me at him.
Not really much I can do. I guess we'll just hit him with this.
You're wide open.
Ah, me too.
I don't like that you're approaching me. It's not very friendly. I don't like it.
Ah, you've done it now.
Cool heads shall prevail.
Okay, go ahead. Heal him.
Your wounds are
I owe you.
And then we're gonna start moving around and we're gonna hope that we can do something about this.
Judge you. Heavens, heed me.
I've been waiting for this.
Can't exactly tell how many spaces he is away. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go not there, here. And we're gonna attempt to provoke again.
I'll be your shield.
That's fine. Accuracy.
You've done it now.
Let me heal your wounds.
Oh, I can't even get you without stepping into their range.
Your wounds are
I
healed.
am gracious.
My growth is plain to see.
Very well.
Gonna move here. And we're gonna hope that we can get just something. I honestly don't even know.
Show me what you're made of.
Make way.
We're going for the Hierophants. Okay, so we can stand one back and still get you. Actually, wait, that's not even a difference in height, is it? Oh, yep, they're both 9. Favorite character at this point? I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I don't play around. That worked, huh? I'm better than ever.
I like Eridor. I like... I like him being big, strong, and a little bit of a klutz. Just a very loyal person. I like Frederica. I like how human they make her.
You've done it now. Nice me too.
You little.
Oh, come on. Are you kidding me?
The heavens judge you.
Eridor cannot move that far. You would have to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spaces. There is no way in the world that he can move. No, he can't move 7 spaces. Why does it say he's... Freaking weird. It's sad how I can deal over 200 damage to him, but I can't do much more than 100 to anybody else. I don't know where exactly to go for this.
The heavens rage.
What I've seen Serenoa and Frederica and Roland. Yeah, but I haven't seen everything. That's fair. I guess I'll go here.
I shall do what I can. Your wounds are healed.
You won't beat me.
I, Oh. Benedict didn't betray you, yeah.
Heavens, grant me strength.
I don't think I'll be able to do much, so I'm gonna go and take... say a Windstone? No. A Thunderstone? Seriously? Not even a Thunderstone can get it? Wow. That's real sad. Yeah, that'd be nice if I could. So have you move up here so you can go and heal everybody. And stay a bit out of harm's way. Here's my attack towards the Hierophant.
Spitting in the face of nature and playing as if they are gods. Hyzante is sick with its own hubris. You, Holy One, should never have existed. You'll regret facing me!
I shall do what I can.
One step forward, heal up Trish.
Your wounds are healed.
Thank you kindly. It wasn't meant to end
I'll
here.
show you what I'm made of.
There we go.
Now or never.
Point me at him!
Up as high as I can.
Okay.
I'm just gonna make sure that that brings you down to that. That brings. Okay, so it is better for me to just do this.
Perfect opportunity. That worked, huh?
Ah!
Ow.
Done it now. Done it now.
Oh, there's something I did not think about.
Let me heal your wounds.
Let's step over here. Go and do this.
Your wounds are healed.
I owe ya. I'll take you on.
Well, let's hope this works.
You're in the way.
It did not. Not liking the mannequin robots either. Don't worry. They are very annoying.
Make way. Here.
It is so.
There you go. Spend time healing yourself. Don't worry about me.
And no one
Oh, of course, you finally decide to use that.
Make way.
I don't think... No, that's flatter. I just considered invalid terrain, so I can't cheese it. I don't know where to position myself. Let's go here.
Perfect opportunity.
I've been waiting for this.
Fine, let's go for it.
Out of my way. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Me too.
Theoretically, I can still defeat her. Can you? No, you cannot. Okay.
Does he want?
Okay. Of course it missed. Why?
You little.
I'll take you on.
What do I have? Nothing. I got nothing. Okay. Well,
House Wolford won't lose.
last ditch effort here.
I thought I had him.
Sorry, Pa.
Or that's who she went for. Okay. Okay then, let's try it again, shall we? So she's not as tanky as she seems. Trish is able to do almost 100 damage with a flaming arrow. Okay. So at the start of the battle
My friends, we are the...
Come at me.
went quite well.
I will end this.
Instead I'm gonna have you go here.
Into the shadows.
Getting them all bundled up. And then going and using...
Pressed for my kith and kin.
So all that's... Here I come.
So what I've learned is I need to not be at 3 TP. Unless I'm going to use it immediately. Like now.
You'll get no mercy from us. I will fight to my last breath.
Okay, there's one.
Curses.
Go and do this.
Wait your turn.
Point me at him. Idle bullseye.
There's that. I'm totally okay with that.
You, grandfather.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid.
Sorry, I had to think about that for a second.
Let the show begin.
Now I send a decoy out here, and that'll attract the attention of a couple of you at the very least.
Shall we begin?
And now let's use Sanctuary right here.
This is what I do.
My thanks.
Heal up everybody just a little bit.
I will end this.
And now... Blazing Chains, I need to clear a path through.
Stay right there. For a better world.
Very well.
And I think I will use Rite of Rain right off the bat.
Hear my prayers.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect, that's exactly what I wanted to happen.
I've been waiting for this.
Oh, and she still survived. Dang. Okay, how soon to all of you guys? Okay. So who's 7? You're 7. Okay, so on Sarah Noah's turn, I need to move you into position. Okay.
Push on through. I thought I had him.
That's gonna be a problem. Okay, then.
So this is victory
Hello,
is within
me.
reach. Try this.
Got it.
Nope.
Curses.
Okay. 2, that takes 2, that takes 1. Okay, I'm gonna use up everything I've got right here. Send you back to 18,
I'll
perfect.
make this quick.
The hunt is on.
I need to actually do something like this. I need to keep my TP down.
Ha! This battle is won.
You can take that.
Impossible. Impressed?
Hurts, but you can.
Close, but not quite.
Make way. Perfect opportunity.
The spears. Oh, why are you running?
Ready or not, here I come.
Ugh.
Oh,
Ready, set. Allow me.
Okay. Sunfall. Yeah, here.
I'll show you what I can do.
Now in tandem, have Frederica go. Try and take advantage.
Wind!
That's
The flames consume you. I shall do what I can.
yeah, I figured he wasn't gonna survive.
Your wounds are my apologies.
The heavens judge you.
60% chance. And I specifically need to be within range of him. Unfortunate.
Tremble in fear.
We at least got the 60%.
Your orders?
We didn't get to kill any of these guys. Wonderful.
Suffer sound strike. Death victory is within reach. Too obvious.
The hunt is on.
Okay. I'm gonna start doing some stupid things.
Allow me.
Let's make trouble. Ain't nothing I can't do.
It is time for a full-on charge.
I'll do my best. Yeehaw!
Allow me.
With the powers in me. I hope you're watching, Grandfather.
Go with that.
I shall do what I can.
For one and all.
That.
Appreciated. My time is now.
Okay. Actually, you can't do much with just... Actually, wait, no, you can. Because you're going to recover one next turn. Oh, wait, no, you're the one who requires 3. Okay, yeah, we're good for 1 turn. %. Let's hope it works.
Tremble in fear.
It did not.
This ends now!
Oh, you're kidding me. The one time that they actually hit with that move.
Time to take flight.
This is going to be my highest and hardest hitting move.
Not another step.
Yeah, resist all. I know. I'm trying to immobilize. I never use that move to actually immobilize them.
Down.
Frederica.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, something tells me I'm not doing this. Not this attempt. This attempt went far worse.
Shall we begin?
I don't think that's gonna help you all that much.
Go swift.
This will not be taken for granted. The heavens judge you.
Sure, I don't know.
You'll regret facing me.
Good, it didn't work.
Oh.
Frederica.
Here I come.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
My arrow flies true.
Just keep shooting the boss.
This battle is won.
Yep, that's not gonna do much. Okay. 62% chance. I'm not surprised that it missed. It's at 80 or below. It's more surprising when it actually hits.
Heavens, grant me strength.
Fine, stand right here, again, right in her way.
Spitting in the heavens ray. The heavens bless me. Oh, you mustn't let our guard down.
Oh, you get... How about from here? That'll do. And I believe that counts as a backstab.
Won't miss.
Yes, it does.
Do you enjoy this battle? My pride is my shield. It wasn't meant to end here.
This is... going, I guess. So I think about all I can describe it as.
I'll do my best.
If I actually do it with this run, then... Ow.
Oh, you mustn't let our guard down.
Which way are you facing? You're facing upwards, okay. I'm not gonna have the height bonus here.
Focus.
This is gonna be so stupid if it works. Come on, crit. Crit. I mean, beyond the guaranteed crit. That's what I meant. Yeah. Darn it! Oh, if I started using the stones just a turn earlier, I think I actually would have done it. That's freaking hilarious. I need to remember to use it. I need to remember to use the stones. Specifically with, Picoletta.
Yeah.
Okay. Once more. I got this, thank you.
It makes you go faster. That's when you quit. Oh god, this is
My friends,
Okay.
beat me!
Time to work.
Joe would say, always follow your heart, unless your heart is bad with directions.
You won't catch me.
Impressed?
So all that secret reason.
This battle is
Okay,
ours.
I just realized the devs were actually being really nice by not making her use divine punishment on the first turn.
They did like.
Because that would have been really mean. Because that would have meant that a whopping 2 characters would have had the chance to avoid it. This is for Huette.
You'll get no mercy from us.
That. Maybe there's an even harder difficulty when I beat the game. If there is, it has to be New Game Plus.
Perfect opportunity.
There's not a chance in the world that I can beat a harder difficulty version of this on a fresh
Show you what I
file.
can do.
Oh, so that's what happened last time. Okay, so I wasn't just imagining things. It is actually glitching. Because that's not their health bar. I thought I was just seeing things, so I didn't mention it, because I was like, I'm gonna look like an idiot if I call out a glitch when there isn't actually anything there. But no, it is. I can see it. It's right here. There's proof. I'm not crazy.
Ready to see a spell?
I see that's their actual health bar.
Where's your next?
Okay, I want you to step up and I want you to just throw this. Just yeet them as far as possible.
Cool heads shall prevail. Be at ease.
The tides are
Do
turning.
that.
I fight for peace.
No, are you kidding me? Pillars of Fire just barely doesn't get him? Fine, go with it anyway.
Fires roar.
Very well.
Use the Rite of Rain.
Heavens, heed me.
That's a rather unfortunate placement for a lot of that, but that's fine.
I'll take you on.
Okay, so we gotta be careful here. Who comes after? Okay. I think I'll be okay to do this. No, no, I won't.
Out of my way.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay, go here. And then continue to be undercover. Who's up next? You, and then you. I'm worried about this one. When does... I really wish this would just stay on whenever I press it. 14. That's quite a ways. I don't have that much time. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use in tandem. You... We're gonna try and get you to stay here without completely annihilating me, hopefully.
Let me show you what I've learned.
Is that far enough? It is perfectly far enough. Okay. Just the mages. I literally just need to get rid of these mages. Okay, so that'll be charging up the next time your turn comes around.
The hunt is on.
You son of a... Okay.
Focus. Take that.
It wasn't
Yeah.
good enough.
Make way.
We're gonna move in 2.
You're wide open.
Come on. Okay. Let's say, as long as you don't move out of range.
Shall we begin? I'm behind you.
I don't know what I did the first time.
Plain to see.
Ready or not, here I come. Here, you will end soon. Here I come. Ice. I did it.
Behold true power.
Okay.
Tremble in fear.
Good, we got the paralysis.
Too obvious.
Good.
I've been waiting for this.
You're gonna move again in 7. That's a problem. If you simply stay here, you jump 19. Fine, do it.
Out of my way.
My turn. Suffer.
That won't do much. We'll do this.
Suffer.
Try and get both of them.
You little.
Too obvious.
Good. You can do that?
Oh, you mustn't let our guard down. Right, this battle is won. The
Okay.
flames consume you.
It's only gonna hit 3 instead of the original batch that I was planning. Got rid of one of them at the very least. rid of you.
I'll end
win.
you. It wasn't ready or not to end. Here I come.
Can I can start.
Cool heads shall prevail. For one and all.
That's the stuff.
Here I come.
Start bonking them, but we gotta start moving forward.
You won't beat me.
My turn.
I'd prefer it if you were to go to sleep.
Sound strike. Silence. Victory is within reach.
Good. Yeah,
Grandfather. Oh, no! We mustn't let our guard down.
I can stand here. And I can still hit you with this.
Take aim!
Yep.
Oh no!
I fight for peace.
Really don't know much of what I can do here. I guess try this.
Please, heed my call.
Really isn't that much.
Our ideals.
I guess it's something. You're asleep. And then you can actually leap up here.
All right, Inna.
The truth eludes me.
Ready or not?
Ouch. Use the decoy.
Whoopsie.
Cool heads shall prevail.
Sure, I guess.
Allow me. You have my gratitude.
I don't think it's really going to do much, but... That's
I will
not
end
good. Okay, we're going to start with this.
This is the end.
And... Can I actually... I cannot. However, I can do this and prepare for the next.
Sound strike.
And that's Santa Frederica, unfortunately. I can go and sprint.
To victory.
Now do this.
Sorry.
Yeah, unfortunate.
Oh, we mustn't let our guard down. I won't miss. Yeah. This battle is won.
The truth eludes me.
Okay, that's fine, I guess.
I will end this.
Wide open.
Do it again.
Wide open.
It's not much, but we need to keep doing it.
You've done it now.
That's fine. I'm not afraid of follow-up attacks from her.
I've been waiting for this.
I'm gonna boost attack.
Wolford won't lose.
Benny,
Okay. Really? Out of all the units that you could have hit?
I won't give in.
That's obnoxious.
I won't miss. Yeah.
I expected her to go for the decoy because, you know, it's the decoy and it's supposed to
What should I do?
attract them. I'm gonna go here. That's a problem. Is their level super high? I mean, yeah, level 36. I don't like that you're on water. That's gonna be a problem. I'm gonna end up doing this.
I've still got lots to learn.
That hurts, don't it?
Oh no!
You've done it now! I love the battlefield. Me too!
You know, that's what I expected her to do.
I've been waiting for this.
120.
Come on!
Yeah, I expected her to do
We mustn't let our guard
that
down.
specific move against the decoy.
I won't miss. Yeah.
Die already!
Your Highness.
Want to be really mean, they could do that every turn, yeah. And they healed her.
You've done it now!
The one time that the healer actually uses a healing skill instead of a TP skill is...
Ha! That tickled! Now or never! You've done it now! Me too! I'll take you on!
I guess we'll use Light Wave. And we'll get you here. And you are going down. Yes! Eat it! Oh my gosh. That should not have worked. She positioned herself perfectly. I think if she was one space forward, that wouldn't have worked. Oh. Why do we still get spoils? Why do we get spoils? Is this not the final battle? You're playing the main theme. Let's find out. Let's do her doom or her second phase. Gonna be honest with you, I really hope it's her doom. Got the Panacea pellet, we replenish what we use on Eridor. Okay, I'm gonna shut up and let this play.
What sort of inhuman creature was that?
An automaton, or so I am told.
Archduke Gustadolf, you survived.
Naturally, Kemsel is dead. What remains of Hyzante's forces have surrendered.
An automaton, you were told. By whom?
A captured soldier.
I can't believe you struck down the Holy One. Something tells me this spells the end for Hyzante, and the teachings of the goddess both.
Then that thing was truly the Holy One.
Yes, I built her myself, under Idor's orders. An artificial hierophant, brought to life by the power of Elfric.
Why would he order the construction of such an odious thing?
With an immortal Holy One as powerful as the goddess herself, Hyzante could ensure the longevity of its faith. So Idor claimed. But in truth, she was meant to be nothing more than a soulless puppet. A tool Idor could use to bend Hyzante to his own will.
Hyzante was supposed to be a land under the goddess's protection, where people could live freely and equally. To think it was ruled by an empty doll this entire time.
An absurd revelation indeed, but one that will cause the goddess's faithful to break with Hyzante when they learn of it. I expect they will be much more inclined to join us after the war.
And the Roselle? Do you think this will put an end to the prejudice against them?
Ostensibly.
There is still the puppet master himself to contend with. We must make for the palace and capture him.
It is doubtful we will find Idor there. I expect he deployed the Holy One to buy himself time to escape. That is the kind of man he has always been.
With Hyzante fallen, he is not but a powerless old fool. There is nothing he can do, no matter where he flees. Victory is ours, King Serenoa.
I suppose it is.
The battle for the Hyzantean capital draws to a victorious close for the Allied armies. Minister Lila, last of the Saintly Seven, signs her name to a peace treaty, effectively ending Hyzante's salt monopoly. The effects of this momentous occasion will ripple through all of Norzelia. With the Holy One's true identity revealed, the power of the goddess's teachings crumbles, and the Roselle are freed from their enslavement at the source. But their long enslavement and the stubborn prejudices against them make it difficult for many to start a new life. Still bound in the fetters of their suffering, they find themselves scattered throughout the realm. Meanwhile, Glenbrook and Esfrost join forces to abolish the consortium and salt taxes. Order the Grand Norzelian mines to open to the populace, giving people near and far access to the salt crystals. With the various applications of salt also made public, several laws are enacted to support merchants whose enterprise involves the mineral. When the people realize the new opportunities available to them, they rush to take advantage of them. For his hand in opening doors that had once been closed, Serenoa Wolffort's subjects admiringly refer to him as King Serenoa the Liberator. And so, a new era of freedom comes to pass. An era where any may access the salt needed to better their future. Of booming trade and flourishing industry, Norzelia is reborn as a land where the power rests with her people. And yet, the gap between the haves and the have-nots grows ever wider. It is an era of great wealth, hand in hand with terrible poverty. The more some prosper, the more many suffer.
Lady Destra, with each hard-won victory he claimed, your son transformed our realm. Now he presides over all of Norzelia, powerful and peerless. I have no regrets. All there is left for me to do is atone for the way I used Lord Serenoa. This is the last time I shall intrude upon your rest.
You will not take your life on my watch, Benedict.
Lord Serenoa, what are you doing here?
Did you not hear me? Preventing you from making a grave mistake. I need you by my side.
No, you don't. I am no more than a wretch who used you for his own gain. I cared nothing for what would befall Norzelia or her people. I even deposed Prince Roland for my own selfish purposes. It was vengeance upon King Regna and Lord Simon for the way they treated Lady Destra like an object, and upon myself for being powerless. All I wanted was to clear my conscience for being unable to help her all those years ago. All I wanted, more than anything, was Lady Destra's good favor. To hear her tell me I'd done well.
You've done well, Benedict.
Huh?
I understand how you're feeling, truly. For I feel it too. My wish to shepherd Norzelia and her people to an era of peace is genuine. But before the entire continent became my responsibility, I wanted only to prove myself worthy of the title of Lord Wolfort. That is the reason I have come this far. My mother and father, Roland and Frederica, my retainers, and you, Benedict. Everything I have done to prove myself to all of you.
Lord Serenoa.
What awaits our realm is anyone's guess. As one who paved the path we now follow, I must keep fighting to ensure we do not falter. So, tell me, Benedict, am I not a man worthy of your assistance?
There is none more worthy in all the realm. So long as there is breath in my lungs, my lord, I will do all I can to help you.
And several new salt crystal deposits have been discovered.
I see. We should tell the people what we know. All of it.
If we do that, we'll drown in the flood of traders who come seeking mining permits from every corner of the realm.
I expect so. Huette, I am trusting you to keep a sharp eye on the contracts and make sure everything is in order.
Of course, my lord.
We couldn't have planned this better. Salt-reliant trades will prosper even more now.
Your Majesty, I've caught the criminal that robbed and murdered those salt merchants. The man's a Rozellan who lives in Old Town. He confessed to the deed, saying he did it to feed his family.
Another criminal out of Old Town. And a Rozellan on top of that.
Old Town's fallen to squalor and poverty. There must be something we can do to turn things around.
This isn't an isolated incident, Your Majesty. If we do nothing to help the impoverished, I'm afraid these crimes of desperation will only keep happening. Prejudice against the Roselle is alive and well. It forces many of them into hard, cruel lives. There must be something we can do to alleviate their suffering.
There are systems in place to help the poor find work, and an edict forbidding discrimination against the Roselle. But we cannot show them any further favoritism. They are not the only ones struggling to survive right now.
Very well.
Murder is a grievous sin, even if it is done in the name of one's family. Execute the Rosellan for his crimes.
it shall be done.
A new day is dawning upon our realm, Frederica. If we are to earn the people's trust in this time of upheaval, we must hold everyone accountable to the law equally.
Yes, Your Majesty.
I will earn all of your trust. This I swear on Roland's name. I will make Norzelia a better place. To that end, I will fight until my dying breath.
Admit the next petitioner.
I'm sorry. Today's food supplies are exhausted. I shall bring more on the morrow.
Please, brother. You're the only thing between us and ruin.
I swear, we shall not forsake you. Try to stay strong.
More of them seek our aid by the day. We need more bread, or we'll never be able to feed them all. Meanwhile, merchants and nobles in the Crown City grow fat off their salt profits.
Food isn't the only thing we lack. We need clothes, beds, medicine. It's but a matter of time until this rundown quarter is overrun with plague.
Please, someone help me.
I've got you, friend. You're all right.
Oh, my lord. This is where you've been. Pray see me to my rest. You have such beautiful eyes.
May he rest in peace. I hear them.
My lord?
I hear them, loud and clear. The cries of people shoved out to margins of this new Norzelia. Soft as rain now, but soon. Soon they will be a tempest. One that will rage across all the land. Do you hear them, Serenoa? Their voices. And mine.
There we go. That's the end. So... I have no idea what to think about that. So, yes, it ended Hyzante, kinda. Didn't really. Clearly, Edor is still there, and Roland is still vouching for Hyzante. Was that the okay ending? I don't know if it gets any better or worse than that. I'm assuming it gets worse, because Roland's ending, as you can see by him going and supporting Edor, despite the fact that Hyzante was, well, kind of deleted. He still supports Hyzante and the goddess's teachings and stuff like that. So I think Roland's ending is essentially a bad ending where you actually complete the game, and not just a bad ending like you failed a story objective. I have no idea if Frederica's is better, worse, or the same, though. Because clearly this is not all happy. And that's about all I can say about it. There actually was not a lot happy about that ending. Hyzante's gone, and that's about it. That's all that's happy. Frederica wasn't happy either. Yeah, understandably so. Hmm. I don't know, that ending felt like it was a setup for another game. That's kind of what it felt like. It didn't feel like it was like a bittersweet ending or anything like that. It just felt like it was an attempt to simultaneously close it up, but also leave it open enough for another game. I don't know, that's just my opinion on it. So it didn't feel, I don't know, I don't know. I don't really know what to think about it. Probably because it was the Path of Benedict, yeah. Never saw that cutscene. Never saw that either. What in the world? What are some of these? Are these stuff from other... Is this stuff from other routes? And some of these we see because it's just going through characters and their skills and stuff. But some of this is like, oh, you're fighting with Avlora, not against her. I saw Cordelia smashing a plate on the ground. I never saw that. We did see this. This happened. Cordelia hits plates. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what to think about it. And unfortunately, I don't know. I don't know what they were trying to go for. And I think that's what has me going... I don't... Like, what's this? This is a battle in the archives? We didn't do any fights in the archives. I don't know, I guess... I don't know, I didn't really know what they were trying to do with the ending. In terms... Maybe wait for the end, maybe not a... Yeah, maybe there's... you know, a post-credit scene or whatever. Okay, well, I guess I guess I can talk about my general thoughts on the game as a whole. So, as a whole, I think the story was interesting. I think most of the character deaths were well written. I think the story none of the story felt terribly forced. A lot of it felt natural. Many of the characters were really well written. I like Cordelia, Avlora, Erador, Frederica. I like Huette, you know, I like quite a bit of the characters. They all feel really good to me in terms of their story. The fact that you can take different paths is very cool. However, I'm not sure how, at the end of this whole ordeal, I'm not sure how much I like the whole voting thing, voting to choose your path. At first I thought it was really cool because you had to go and influence them and stuff like that, but it was fairly easy throughout literally every single decision that we had to make except for the final decision. Every decision before the final decision, you just had to get one person to change sides, and you would win. Therefore, if you attempted to change everybody's side, you were almost guaranteed to get one person to change sides. Since you suddenly had to get two on the last one, and you were not given any sort of special information, you're just given two choices and you have to choose the better one. It's a coin toss for each one. And I don't know. Like I said, it's super easy to go whatever path you want throughout most of it. And then the final one just goes, oh yeah, good luck. Which felt a little weird. When the last one came along, I was a bit more frustrated with the fact that I didn't get it because I had gotten every single other one with ease. And maybe that's me being, I guess, like, spoiled or whatever throughout the game. But it did feel very weird. Let's see, apparently you can fight with him. Or maybe that's just saying as an enemy he was able to do that. I don't know. I don't know, but it just felt weird that I was always able to get my way with the exception of the final vote. Which, again, makes me feel like it was supposed to be a bit more difficult to sway people to your side, and you were supposed to fail at getting your way more often. Who even are you? You never existed in my path. I feel like I'm missing a lot here. But, I don't know. That system felt like it had a lot going for it, but it wasn't... It just didn't work well. At least, for me, it didn't. Because, like I said, I got my way every single time except for the final time. I was not prepared to not get my way. Now, if there have been multiple other times where I didn't get my way, then... I do actually like this image. I like this. This does look good. Benedict looks incredibly happy with himself. Serenoa and Frederica do not look so happy. Benedict, yeah. Okay, New Game Plus. Okay, before I continue, I'll look over New Game Plus. Congratulations, your journey has come to an end. Loading the save will grant you access to New Game Plus mode, which grants the following features. All units, items, information, and notes carry over. Enemies will be tougher, except in mental mock battles. You can view the summary of your first playthrough. Hard mental mock battles are now on tap at the tavern. You may view your current conviction values and the values necessary to recruit allies you've not yet met. I have my opinions about that, we'll go about that later. You will be notified when a conviction value changes and by how much. Again, we'll go over that later. Dialogue choices will show which conviction values they affect and by how much. The conditions necessary to raise each conviction value will be revealed. Save clear data. Yes, I will. There we go. So there's no new harder difficulty. There's hard practice battles now, but there's no hard difficulty. I should have screenshotted that so I could look at it in the game. I don't want to begin the game yet. I just kind of want to look at what New Game Plus says. Oops. Okay, let's see if I can pull it up on here. Okay, there we go. So I have what New Game Plus is pulled up. But I'm going to continue talking about the game as a whole and my experience with it, if that's alright, before I go on to that. So let's see, what have we covered? We covered the story, we covered the ending specifically, we covered characters. Go for it, thanks. I think the art style is amazing. I absolutely love the HD 2D, the HD 2D or like HD 8-bit or whatever they call it. 18, 16-bit or 32-bit. I think this would be 32-bit. But I really like this art style. It's really freaking cool. And I also love the sketched art style. I think that's really cool as well. My brain's not working. Why can I just blanked. Why can I not? Okay, so I like the art style. I like the sketched sort of art stuff, like the finished screen that we got. The music is good. It's not a soundtrack I think I'm gonna go listen to while I'm not playing the game. But it was enjoyable to listen to during battles and dark story scenes and stuff like that. I think the stuff did a very good job of fitting the mood. I guess into gameplay as more of a whole instead of just specifically the voting thing. And this will transition over into New Game Plus. I think it's a good segue. So, as I have mentioned throughout a couple different battles, and now with New Game Plus, I think I understand the design choice. It's something I've seen in one other game. Something that I don't really know if I like it or not. So, this hard mode was not meant to be played on a new file. This was definitely not built for that. There were more than a couple battles that in terms of pure stats, I had to cheese. Take, for example, the battle on the bridge against Thalos and Erica. That fight, I had to go and cheese with Huette on the ladder and stuff like that. Simply because on the first turn, I was already having units dying, simply because it was not possible to get my speed stats high enough. It was not possible to take out enough enemies just fast enough. Which, on a normal mode, I think I would have been fine. I would have been totally fine. However, knowing my experience with another game, who I will not call out right now for the simple sake of respect, since I'm kind of trashing on it right now. The normal mode likely would have felt too easy for me. And there's no happy medium where I feel like it's just the right amount of challenge. I feel like there should have been a hard mode, which probably sat in between what the normal mode actually is and what this hard mode actually is. And I feel like this should have been something along the lines of very hard, unlocked after beating the game on normal mode or my new proposed hard mode. I simply felt like some maps were overwhelming with just the number of units, their stats, damage multipliers, and stuff like that. I think some of the concept in this game are amazing. I love the flanking attack. I love the follow-up attacks that you get by flanking. I love that getting attacked from the back, or you attacking someone from the back, feels a guaranteed critical hit. I like how if you push someone and they collide with someone else, they both take damage, or if they collide with the wall, they take damage. Or if they drop off this side of a building or a cliff side or something like that, they take fall damage. I think that's really cool. I like the TP system, but it made certain characters incredibly difficult to use. some characters, for example, Frederica, Izana, Narv, basically a lot of your casters couldn't do anything without TP. And while some of them had, oh yeah, well we can do one thing with one TP, it was never really all that good. It was usually just set up for something else. Flame Shield was good to pop on Eridor if he needed a little bit of extra damage when counterattacking, but that was about it. No one ever used flame magic, at least in our route. So Fire Eater and Flame Shield were never really worth it. Izana, after getting upgrades with her second weapon, could cast the rights of Rain, Tempest, and Luck for 1 TP, but that's set up for future moves. Narv actually couldn't even do anything with 1 TP. Every single one of his moves required 2 TP. And I know they tried to mitigate it by doing stuff along the lines of the Pierce defenses, or the Cursed Lock, or something like that, where if you hit them with whatever kind of attack, it would lower their defenses. So you could run up when you have less than 2 TP, hit someone, and that would be preparing them for the next attack, which would actually have enough to go and hit them with a full magic attack or something like that. I think it's a clever idea, but unfortunately, they're too squishy and they get one shot. So it was not viable to do that. And just in general, just... it seems like they intended for you to gain TP through a variety of different ways. And part of this could be on me. I know Jens, I think it was Jens. No, it was not Jens. It was Julio. Julio had the ability to go and grant allies TP. However, that costed himself TP. So, you know, I don't really know what to think about that. Let's see. What else can we do? What else can we mention? Oh, yes, stats in general. Sorry, I'm doing something on the side so that we can change off of this title screen thing. Let's go. Okay, so let's go, and excuse me for one moment while I do this, and then let's go and do this, and then this. Okay, there we go. That should be a bit better now. Oh, I just realized that you can see that. There we go. Okay, and then let's move me... Sorry, I'm doing this on the fly. There we go. Not good. Sorry, title screen music. You are good, but I can only listen to you on loop so many times. There we go. So... what was I saying? Oh, yes, stats. So stats are funky. I never truly understood how effective a certain stat was. The only thing that I truly understood was HP. If your HP reached 0, then you're done. That's about all that I could understand. Which... for some people, that's all they need. And clearly it allowed me to at least get through the game. But there are some things in which, for example, it's, you know, taking a look at the elite battle mages in, yeah, it's not exactly the greatest just chatting screen, I'm sorry. Oh, I don't even have a chat box, hold on. It's scuffed. I literally made this like 10 seconds ago. Is it this? I think it's this. It is. Okay, cool. Where do I want it? Where do I want it? I'll have it here. I don't know. It'll appear there. I'll look. Whatever. It works. I'm doing it on the fly. Yeah, stats, like I said, for some people it works to simply know HP reaches 0, you die. But playing on a harder difficulty, I like to know more about what kind of damage I'm going to take. I want to know specifics. I want to know exactly how things are calculated, exactly where all these numbers come from. Especially when you're forced to make decisions like, oh, do I take a defense +1 or do I take an HP +10? Do I increase weapon potency by 5 or do I increase strength by 1? It's not easy to make those sorts of decisions if I have no idea what those numbers mean or where they come from or what they do. And that got really frustrating, especially because there's like 7 different values that they give you for damage. There's the actual damage that you see, you have the power value, you have weapon potency, you have your strength or your magic attack, and then you also have the defenses, which, I don't know, it's all crazy. I ended up eventually looking it up because I couldn't find anything myself, and I even went and I built a spreadsheet, and I had like over 100 different recorded simulation battles. There was XYZ character with XYZ stats, went and did XYZ against this other character with XYZ stats, and I could not find any trends. I just couldn't find anything consistent. And I eventually looked it up, and it was something along the lines of like, oh, well, every character has a personal modifier that goes and multiplies the values differently. So damage calculation is different for every single character. The only thing that's universal is a universal difficulty modifier, which is on hard difficulty, allies deal 25% less damage and enemies deal 50% more. Which, you know, I signed up for that, and I think in any other scenario I'd be okay. But I don't know the individual character values and stuff like that, and I don't know how stuff is calculated. Because even though it said, it was like, oh, well, you know, give an example, here's XYZ character, they have XYZ strength and XYZ weapon potency, so a standard weapon attack is going to do this much, and the enemy is going to have this modifier attached to them, and therefore their defenses will take this much off of it, so it'll deal an end result of this damage. And I'm like, that's great, but I can only access one of those values, or 2 of those values, and that's like a strength and a defense. I can't access anything else. And it also didn't help that I didn't know how much criticals were doing. Especially since I think I got a grand total of 3 criticals outside of the guaranteed ones granted by skills or by backstabs. So I think it's very, very difficult to build more complex strategies other than simply turtling or rushing down the boss. Since I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what hits I can take, I don't know what hits the enemy can take, stuff like that. I don't know what I'm doing until that very instant. So that was a bit frustrating in terms of that. Which then brings me into New Game Plus. As we have here, all your acquired units stick around. That's fine. That makes sense. I can appreciate that. It allows for some interesting things for completionists. One, it also allows for some interesting strategies on maybe earlier battles that you maybe couldn't pull off before. Stuff like extra magic when fighting Avlora, if you decide to take the we're going to shelter Roland again in New Game Plus sort of route. So there's that. I can appreciate that. The levels, Oh, hold on. Here it says your levels. Indeed, the menus notifying you about all of this after the game is beaten don't mention your levels carryover. I didn't realize I didn't say that. I'm gonna have to re-look at the VOD and like just see exactly what it said, because I read it, I think, consciously, and I recognized a couple of things, but I didn't recognize all of it consciously. Like, I recognize some things about like conviction and stuff like that, and that's what my brain stuck with. I didn't stick with some of the other stuff. Levels are interesting because if we're sticking with recommended levels, we're all about level 33. I know that's not exactly true because I've replayed that battle a couple of times and levels are wonky and all that sort of stuff. And that makes it interesting. Assuming all the levels stay the same in New Game Plus, that makes some battles significantly easier. That makes a lot of battles significantly easier, but it doesn't exactly change the late game all that much. The late game was incredibly difficult, and I was considered to be at level. And due to the way that the game is calculating EXP, from what I can see, even fighting an enemy that's one level under gets you significantly diminished returns. You have to be fighting enemies that are at or over leveled in order to be leveling at all. We did one extra attempt to try and get some level ups for the final battle at the end of the previous Triangle Strategy stream, where we fought as level 31s and 32s against level 30s in that mental mock battle. Despite doing this, we gained a grand total of only 2 levels amongst our entire party, because we were only gaining like 10 EXP per enemy defeated. It simply was not... It was not giving us EXP. I didn't feel like the mock battles were worth anything except for training maybe 1 or 2 units that died early and didn't get levels. Or if you, for some odd reason, wanted to train up your entire squad. Not even just those who are going to actually stay in battle. Even then, within a battle alone, even if you are still under-leveled, the game is still going to give you diminished returns. When we fought off the entirety of Avlora's army with just Huet, Huet wasn't gaining any EXP at the very end. About halfway through that battle, Huet just flat out stopped gaining EXP, despite the fact that she was still, I think, a level lower than all of the enemies. Which is crazy to me. It's wild. I can't really think of any other way to put it. I get that there's got to be systems in place to prevent over-leveling, but I don't think it should flat out stop you from leveling at all, especially in a game where you could play on hard difficulty right off the bat. I was feeling pretty good about the first couple battles because they were just enough difficulty. They were challenging, but I was able to push through them with minimal losses. After stuff like Avlora and stuff like that, I was like, okay, I need to be at and above the recommended level with my party. But I was never even able to reach the recommended level. I don't think I ever played a battle at the recommended level with my whole party. Which is frustrating. Because enemy stats already, I'm pretty sure, were already increased, and we were already dealing less damage and taking extra damage. So I didn't think that levels should have been that big of a deal. But they were. Let's see. I know I'm trashing on this game a lot. I'm sorry. I did actually thoroughly enjoy it. I feel like I need to say that. I did actually thoroughly enjoy the game. If I didn't enjoy it, I would not have played through to the end. It did feel... On battles in which we won without cheesing it, it felt really good. Those battles felt amazing, and having a strategy work and stuff like that felt really good. But unfortunately, there were a lot of battles that I had to cheese, and it's due to stuff like, well, what I'm describing now, levels, stats, the inability to know where values are coming from. Like, I'm sure there's probably some characters who actually were better suited for different roles than I play them. I'm sure there's some characters that were actually better suited to be a bit more on the front lines. I'm sure there was probably a magic tank. But since I didn't know where the values were coming from and everybody was still getting one shot, I decided no one was a magic tank and magic is just going to reign supreme. Yeah, I don't really know how else to phrase that. Besides that, because that's just exactly what my brain thought. I think some of the units are interesting and very, very specific. And due to the way that... actually, we'll get into that momentarily. Some of the units are very specific. Take, for example, Jens. He can build ladders, he can build traps. That's great. That's absolutely wonderful. And I think that's a really cool concept. However, the enemies, due to the simple way that the game works, it's not possible to make an enemy completely ignore a trap. In the same way that it's not possible for the enemy to completely ignore the fact that Anna is invisible. Because they still have to obey the rule that they can't walk through her. They still, you know, they're still conscious of the fact that invisible things are there. Which is unfortunate, because that makes one of Yen's skills, the trap, completely worthless unless you can narrow them, or send them straight into something where they have to walk on it. Because otherwise they're just going to step one step off to the side. They don't deal with the trap. And ladders, on the other hand, I think there would have been a grand total of a single map. Like, literally a single map where I would have liked to use a ladder. And there goes another one of his skills. And even then, I'm not sure if the ladder would have helped all that much, because using the ladder would have put me on higher ground, yes. It would have also put me right in the circle of enemies, so I don't even know if there was a spot for him to use the ladder and have it be fully appreciated. So I think some characters, unfortunately, are just... And I hate to say that, because I'm a strong believer. I am a very strong believer. And you can play whoever you want. And that goes for just about any game. You know, I hate to pull in another game, but for the sake of example, Fire Emblem Three Houses is, I think, the best example, and one of the ones that I can always provide one of the best arguments for. Due to the way that stats are random, well, semi-random, sort of. There are specific values for what causes them to increase. There are stat-increasing items that you can purchase that are permanent. You can change classes to influence stuff. Any character is viable, even characters such as Ignatz, who has, for example, the lowest stat growths out of everybody in that game. Normally that's like, oh, that's a bad character, we shouldn't use him. The thing is, he still can gain a ton of other skills that everyone else can. You can still use all the weapons that everyone else can. You can still level him up. You can still get lucky and have all the good stat growths. You can send him down different classes and stuff like that. You can train them to be viable. There's no one that's inherently bad. However, in this game, I felt like there were multiple units that were just bad. One of them, for example, and I hate to trash on him, is Jens. He's just so specifically situational, and it made me never want to use him. I used him once, and I decided, nope, not gonna be good. And I just decided against it. And then that leads me into skills, and because since we don't know where the stats come from, what they do, that's not what caused units to be quote-unquote bad. I'm going to put that in quotes because I could be 100% wrong. I just played through a game blind. I don't know what I'm doing. So, skills. I vented about this before, similar to the stats and stuff like that. Skills need to be fixed. If there is one thing that I would change for sure in this game, it is skills. I never knew what a skill was doing. Attacks all enemies in range meant 7 different things. There were some times which it genuinely did do all within range. There were some times where it was a single target, and then whatever's adjacent to it. There were some times where it was a single target plus anything within 2 spaces of it, like Sunfall. There were some times where it was anything in a square around a character, despite the fact that it said the range of 1. It just... nothing was clear. Heals all allies within range. That's not healing all allies within range, that's healing one ally and all allies adjacent to that ally. That's why whenever I saw something that was all within range, I instantly became skeptical of it. I instantly questioned it, because there was nothing telling me what it would actually do. There was only one AoE skill that actually told me what it was going to do, and that was Cleave from Hosobara. It specifically said that it was going to attack 3 spaces in front horizontally. I instantaneously understood what it was going to do, and that was it. That's the only skill where I already knew what it was going to do. Skills need to be more specific. And like we discussed with TP, I think there also needs to be something to be done about TP costs or earning TP. Towards the end, we started to get something with Frederica. She was able to gain an extra TP every single time that she killed an enemy. That's great. However, the opportunities for her to kill enemies were incredibly small. It meant that other units had to go and beat up the unit that she was attacking, just for her to land the finishing blow. And then in order for her to do it again, she would have to yet again wait for all the other units to go and beat up one guy, and then for her to land the finishing blow. Which essentially meant that she was already going to gain the 2 TP, or even 3 or 4 or whatever naturally. There was a Quietus skill. Gain 3 TP. Any ally. Great. Wonderful. But it's only a one-time use. In the entire battle. Fine. 3 TP is a lot. But what about a 1 TP or a 2 TP Quietus point skill? What about those? I don't know. Okay, that's my rant about that. Let's go on to the next point. Notes and information do not go away. Negative language is not effective. But notes and information stay. They carry across. That's good. Some of that lore stuff was actually really interesting. There's some little tidbits about the land and stuff like that. Stuff about the Salt Iron War, for example. That was really interesting to learn about, since we only heard bits and pieces from actual characters in the story. Your inventory hangs back with you. That's nice for a couple of things, like a couple of accessories, maybe a couple of healing items, and that's about it. I never buffed or debuffed because we never knew what the stats were, and the stones never really did a significant enough damage to warrant using them. So some parts of the inventory staying are good, other parts are Eh. I guess it's selling fodder or something. A summary of your previous playthrough can be viewed. It only covers the most recent playthroughs, so if you're viewing New Game Plus Plus or further, you will only see the most recent ending that you got. There will be harder mental mock battles. I did see this. Interesting. So you can go and further level up your characters. They aren't going to be completely blocked if the main story sticks to the same level. That's cool, that's great. And I think some of them provide an interesting challenge. And they may also provide more items and stuff like that, which is going to be great if you want to just max out your party's upgrades or stuff like that. Just get a little bit of extra boost to go and get that third weapon skill or whatever. Great. However, I don't know how much they're improved in terms of difficulty. I don't know if it's... they made it simply tactically harder, where your positioning is a bit different. I don't know if it's they just went, yeah, everybody's 5 levels higher now. I don't know if it's they just made 20,000 enemies on the battlefield and you just gotta deal with it. I don't know. That's something I'll have to see for myself. I can't say anything about that yet. And now the part where I wanted to mention the instant I saw it. You will be able to view which conviction points... Oh wait, no, that's not what I thought it was. No, this leaves off some of them. Because I specifically remember this one. You'll be able to see what conviction points you have, where they lay, what levels you're at, stuff like that. I think simply knowing where that was would have been nice. You don't need to tell me what dialogue choices are doing. You don't need to tell me what other characters like. You don't need to tell me the requirements for recruiting new characters. But knowing where the levels stand would have been nice. Having every little action that I do say Serenoa's convictions have been strengthened, I would have liked to know which one of those events was significant and how many of them was just +1, +2. Because it would have been very, very different. From what I understand, it's basically every action that you do is gaining you EXP towards different conviction levels. And then individual conviction levels then influence things such as meeting new characters, possibly influencing during dialogue, stuff like that. Now, for completionists, after they've done the first path, after they've gotten their first batch of characters, seeing all this stuff is wonderful. And I think it should totally be there. And that's perfect that they did it. Good on them. I applaud them for that. That's very good. But like I said, I would have liked something real basic. Just something to say, morality level 1, unity level 2, liberty level 3. Something along those lines. Just so I could take a look and go, oh. Okay, so that's what this is. Because looking back on it, every single choice that we made had colors. Those colors didn't correspond to the country. It corresponded to conviction. So convincing someone to go with XYZ color corresponded to the XYZ conviction. You would have been able to know what would be the easiest or hardest thing to go for. That would have been nice to know. It's something that, you know, again, you don't need to tell me what characters are advocating for what conviction, but knowing which ones I have would be nice. Knowing my strengths would be nice. And eventually you could probably go and deduct what characters are shooting for what, based on the dialogue choices that made them happy, based on which things level up by doing things with them, stuff like that. It's not just an ability to learn would have been nice. And I think that goes for a lot of things about this game. I think that's, in general, what I can sum up about my complaints, is that there's not a lot of opportunities to learn. I think that about covers everything. So... yeah, that covers just about everything for New Game Plus. Let's see. So yeah. In summary, I do quite like the game. I think a lot of the mechanics are really cool. I think the voting mechanic is really cool, the fact that it has the possibility of at least not going your way. I think the story is really well written. I cannot speak English, I apologize. I think the story is incredibly well done. The characters are well written. They feel 3D, not just 2D, ironically. It's an art pun. It's a pun on the fact that it's a 2D HD game. The art is actually really well done, speaking about that. Like I said, I do enjoy the strategy part of it. I think stuff around the lines of building around terrain, building around unit placement, actual, like, flanking and stuff like that. I think that's really cool. But the game has its downfalls. There's not a lot of opportunities to learn. You don't know where stats come from, you don't know what skills do, and you have no idea what your dialogue options are doing. You have no idea what's influencing things in the background. Again, you don't need to flat out just go, okay, here's exactly what it's going on, here's exactly what this dialogue option does. You don't need to do that. Just something along the lines of just a little thing in the corner that just says, hey, Unity level 3, Liberty level 2, Morality level 4, something like that. Just something nice and simple like that. Clean up the skill descriptions just a little bit. Instead of saying all enemies within range, say within range, choose a square. All enemies within 1 space of that square, all enemies within 2 space of that square, then take damage. It would be so easy to say that. And then, of course, stats. Not the most important to everybody, I know. But I really like knowing exactly how everything is going to work. Especially with whatever the heck accuracy was. I was never able to tell what I'm actually going to hit, what I'm not going to hit. It seemed like anything below 90% was a coin toss on whether it hit or not. Almost every single stream, we saw at least 2 attacks that were over 90% accuracy miss. So there's some stuff that I kind of want to know where numbers are getting pulled from, how it's being calculated. That one's more personal preference, though. But yes. Good game. Could be better. That's my take on it. But yes, I had fun. I think the big takeaway is I had fun. Even though I'm stubborn and I did it on the hardest difficulty, I had fun. You know, and maybe that's the problem. Maybe it is all on me. Maybe I'm supposed to play it on normal difficulty first, and then hard mode is meant for New Game Plus. Maybe that's what it's meant. I have played another game which has done that before. However, with that game, when I learned about that, I switched over to normal mode and I decided that it was way too easy. And that I was able to basically beat the game with my eyes closed. So, I don't know. I'm no game designer. I guess let me say that. All my opinions are purely that of my own. I am nothing but a simple video game enjoyer. I'm no designer, so I have no idea what the design choices actually were. For all I know, everything that I just mentioned could be 100% intentional. I don't know. Basically, that's my summary of the game, in terms of my opinions on it, what I think about it. All in all, it's a good game. I did thoroughly actually enjoy it in the end. And yeah, we won. We did it. We threw the Holy One off a rooftop. Yeah. Alrighty then. I think that's where I'll call it then. I'll do a little bit more research and we'll try and see maybe a bit more about what New Game Plus entails, how many endings there are, how much if I really want to be a completionist. You know, I recall, I think the last stream I said it would require something like 30 playthroughs if I wanted to get every single choice. That's not true, because some of the choices, I can make alternate choices on multiple paths, so it wouldn't require like 30 playthroughs. And I'm sure there's not 30 endings or whatever. There may be 30 bad endings, but in terms of actual, like, you get that end screen and not a game over, you failed a story objective screen, I can't imagine there's more than 3 or 4 of them. So I'll do some more research. We'll figure out what exactly New Game Plus entails and how much I'm feeling it in terms of, do I want to play more or do I want to take a break from the game? Oh yeah. We did it. We defeated Hyzante and united, in quotations, Norzelia. Yeah. I think that's going to be it. Thank you all for joining me in this playthrough. Let's go ahead and switch over to an actual end screen. That's been... Actually, I actually took the time to craft instead of crafting it live. Go ahead and we'll do this. Maybe? Oh, that's because I pushed the wrong button. Oops. That's it. There we go. Okay, and now we should be able to go in. Okay. And since we were already using that song, we'll go ahead and we'll keep it there. But since we made the transfer, it's going to restart itself. Alrighty. Well then. That's it. That is the end of our first run. Maybe our only run? I don't know. Well, like I said, I'll have to do research. But that is the end of our blind playthrough of Triangle Strategy. That was pretty fun. That was a lot of fun to play. Like I said, I have my gripes, but in the end, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope it was a ton of fun to watch. I know that my brain can be very chaotic, and sometimes I watch through VODs and I'm like, what in the world am I talking about? But I hope that added a little bit of chaos alongside strategy makes things enjoyable. I hope that watching the stream is something you can look forward to, and who knows, maybe it got you interested in a new game. If I did, I'm glad I was able to help. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed it today. If you did and you're looking in the background or watching this in the future on a VOD or anything like that, feel free to leave a follow. It's a nice and easy way to say, hey, I like what you're doing. Keep up the good work. Follows on Twitter and Twitch are good ways to get notifications. So if you want to see more of my streams, those are good. A follow on either one of those platforms is a good way to know whenever I go live, so you won't have to miss a thing. If you're new here and you don't know what I do, it's usually RPGs like this. I love myself a good strategy, some good story, and occasionally I play a random game on the side. So if you're interested in seeing any of that, feel free to stick around, check me out, say hi in a future stream, anything like that. But for now, I think I'm going to call it off here. Regardless of how you choose to show your support, though. It means a lot to me, and I greatly appreciate it. And I hope you all have a wonderful day, night, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it happens to be wherever you are. And I hope to see you all again later. Thanks for hanging out with me and sticking through this playthrough.